Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon for some of us. How is everybody doing? Um, Let us begin our beautiful day.
Those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of, killing in the name of. And now you do what they told ya. 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 Those who died are justified for wearing the badge. They're the chosen ones. You're justified. Those who died for wearing the badge. They're the chosen ones. Those who died are justified for wearing the badge. They're the chosen ones. You're justified. Those who died for wearing the badge. They're the chosen ones. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of, killing in the name of. And now you do what they told ya. 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 Those who died are justified for wearing the badge. They're the chosen ones. You're justified. Those who died for wearing the badge. They're the chosen ones. Those who died are justified for wearing the badge. They're the chosen ones. You're justified. Those who died for wearing the badge. They're the chosen ones. Come on! Yeah, come on! You won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Proceeds from this video will be going to the Bail Project, and you can read more about that organization below. We thought that it would be a cool idea to create a challenge here in the music community to get more eyes on Black Lives Matter. So, we're going to nominate 3 artists to cover the song and hope that they do the same. We nominate our friends Violet Orlandi, First to 11, Lauren and Crazy88, and anyone else that wants to help spread the message. We'll leave the link to our instrumental in the description below for anybody that wants to use it. Please just make sure you credit us somewhere in your video or description. Let's get this song circulating by labeling your video Killing in the Name Challenge. Make the message heard to help end police brutality and systemic racism.
Boy, did any of the bands she challenged do the cover version yet? 2 of them did. 2 of them so far have done it. I haven't seen anything of the 3rd person do it yet. Maybe they might be out due to, you know, spending time with family or something. I don't know. But I'm not them, I'm not there, I don't know that person, so I can't really comment on what the story is. But when I finally, what's going on today? Not much. Just a streaming day, you know how it goes, man. Gotta stream. Gotta keep up the appearances. First to 11 did it, as well as Lauren Babick. Both did it. The other one, Violet Orlandi, as far as I've noticed yet, I haven't, since I'm subscribed to them, I haven't seen any video up for that yet. I don't know why. But you can bet that when and if she does that, we will be watching it. That's for sure, without a doubt. So, how's everyone doing? Hopefully everybody's doing good. Hopefully life is good for everyone. So I'm thinking today I might do, life is generally going all right, good. Today I'm thinking I might do, yeah, not bad here, just eating through the rest of, lucky. Today I think I might do some more in-depth teachings on the medicine wheel. Maybe a few other things as well, but we'll see how the crowd goes. See what we got going on. Oh, excuse me. Maybe you might be, checking up on indigenous news in indigenous country and seeing what's going on in indigenous lands. As well as maybe, cover some, etiquette when it comes to indigenous things. Proper, etiquette on stuff. Shit, for all I know, man, maybe I might, open up the voice chat again and see what we got going on, right? We'll see how the day turns out. This is one of those things that we're used to in indigenous country. Letting the wind blow where it may blow. I mean, it is Sunday.
Wouldn't have believed if you told me last December I'd cross the border this year more times than I can remember. Back and forth from Canada to the United States. Yeah, we hustle on the move, we do whatever it takes. And I never could have imagined I would travel so much. My brown and documented people, y'all know that it's rough. Got gringos calling us illegals. We got indigenous blood, oh no, hold up. Must be playing, they the racist land invading, mass murder, earth betraying ones. Yo, much respect to all the natives who took time to share their stories I can't put into words what y'all have really done for me. And look at Savage Fam been showing me the way, cultivating the rage, motivating me to stay brave like a bimbo about to break. Please know we appreciate all our folks in the cut who steady bumping the music. Every show was a blessing, blasting louder acoustic, taking notes from the youngsters who were holding it down in their ancestral homeland. They're gonna turn the shit around. To all the young sisters, always elevate your voice. You carry gifts within you, make some motherfucking noise. If some dude tries to shut you down or make you feel small, it's just cause they don't understand your power at all. Now we recognize the indigenous led land defense worldwide, native lives demonstrating excellence. Born to ride, born to defy these crackers, colonial ignorance. These rhymes of resistance, all what got me on the road. Believe I had to examine every word that I wrote, cause the youth were listening when I was standing to speak.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
back and really reflect. If you wanna build through the music, you must foresee its effect. But the learning curve's sharp, we don't got much time left. Don't got much time. Don't got much time left. No, no, huh? Woo. Huh? Yo, rest in power to the students murdered in Ayotzinapa. Pinches puercos del gobierno se dieron cuenta lo que pasa. Intentaron enterrar semillas y el país prendió fuego. Now waiting for anyone to free his homies in a lonely land, screaming fuck the police. We don't beg our oppressor, we hold court in the streets. Ferguson and coast to coast, it's open season on a pig. Fighting for our freedom is the only way we'll live. There's never been justice on stolen land. This needs to be the year the revolution began. There's never been justice on stolen land. This needs to be the year the revolution began. Was this the year the revolution began? Time will tell, time will tell. I ain't been sober like this since I was damn near 13. Hey, yo, I'm feeling so sharp, my mind's feeling so clean. See, I decided this year that I can't drink like I used to, but most of the homies always say, looking for an excuse to pour up a cup of that white man's piss. But when you good on that shit, you learn to tell them like this: the liquor makes you sick, them beers make you soft. The more that you drink, the more our people get lost. The liquor makes you sick, them beers make you soft. The more that you drink, the more our people get lost. But see, what really gets me heated is how proud you fucking sound, bragging about how many shots you about to show me you can pound. Man, that's flashbacks in mis tíos, borrachos growing up who only showed their solid faces when they needed a buck. They'd get into the cases and then my mom would be stuck cleaning up broken bottles and blood spilled from the pipes, and that ain't even rock bottom. You don't wanna hear about those nights, but I already know what you gon' say. You not an alcoholic, but how many of your friends are, and what could you do to stop it? This a whole other topic for a whole other song, so let me wrap it up. Yeah, let's just move it along. See, I've been running for a minute, adrenaline's got me reckless. Try to keep up with my lyrics, got you looking breathless. You could never kill my spirit, but you should just call me dead, please. What? Said I've been running for a minute, adrenaline's got me reckless. Try to keep up with my lyrics, got you looking breathless. You could never kill my spirit, but you could just call me deathless. That's it. 2014's damn near done. We're just prepared for what's to come.
Hey, welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in. Thank you, Bubbles, for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome in. Welcome in. So as I was saying earlier, today we're going to be kind of like a in the wind kind of thing. I'm thinking, I might do some more teachings on the medicine wheel. Maybe some more indigenous teachings when it comes to etiquette or proper etiquette. Maybe check up some news and see what's going on in indigenous countries. Might get the voice chat open up again, going on, see how it works out. Because always important, right? Hey, I see a lot of good people in here. Awesome. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you, Dark Knight. Yeah, that's Alas, A-L-A-S. She's a famous southern central indigenous woman from Turtle Island, which also is known as either Central or South America. We call it Turtle Island. Yes, thank you, Hildy. Hildy is awesome. She's usually a channel favorite. Usually when I start my streams, I play off with some indigenous artists, and she's one of them that I usually start off my streams with. Gotta, set the tone, right? If you're just coming in and you haven't followed me yet, feel free to throw a follow. Following is free. Some of the other things we've looked at, was like a community fridge ideas. especially with our food insecurity that we've been having and are most likely probably going to start to have, even more so, sadly. A community fridge is not a bad idea. And I understand, I've been hearing that there are some parts or cities or states that have been fighting up against it or going against it, trying to cause an issue with it. So as we stated before, always check out and make sure that everything's community fridges are dope. The city of Toronto tried to shut one down in this area called Parkdale because of child safety. Shake my head. Yeah, really, right? What's child safety? All the food is watched and monitored by some volunteers. So, what cameras, especially the one I do believe in Parkdale that has video cameras watching it, security cameras watching it. So, I don't know. I think that would be, a little bit just basically capitalism. Some fucking shopping center decided, or grocery store decided that, or no, I'm actually on the west side of Canada, Kenny. I'm more into the west side, bro. I'm lurking, not twerking. I love it, Hildy. I love it. Oh, that reminds me, Hildy. Now that I'm streaming, if you remember that guy from last night, the one. I think Frezzo might know how to do it if they're not in the room. But yeah, community fridges usually what ends up happening with a lot of the times is that these corporate businesses that deal with like grocery shopping stuff. Yeah, I've been trying to find that person, but so far I'm not successful. Frezzo might have to do it on his end. Okay. All right. I think Frezzo is here. I just don't know if he's actually like in the room at the moment, or if he's here but doing something else or watching something else. I don't know. Yeah. So usually what ends up happening is this. Capitalism and its big corporations decide that it is unacceptable. I have the name written down, so I am fully aware of them. Okay, sweet. Thank you, Hildy. You're awesome. And with what they called you, yeah, there's just no fucking way. I don't give a shit. That's unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So usually what ends up happening is these big corporates decide that they don't want you to have a community fridge because you need to buy whatever food, even though there's like over $30 million in food that goes to waste from them. And that's not including the other avenues, like, from farmers and stuff like that, that goes to waste in a whole and entirety, where there's tons of people that are literally starving, or, it also helps reduce the stress of the food banks. When people have a community fridge, that they can go to and get some food, or put in food, trade back and forth like that, it usually reduces that stress. It's just big corporate that decides that it's unacceptable that you should receive free food. Chat, don't message a mod with creepy intentions laced with misogyny. It's just plain wrong. Exactly, Ildi, exactly. I mean, it's one thing to insult a streamer, but when you're sitting back and going after our mods, yeah, no, you're done. Yeah, I'll never forget the first wave. How there were farmers who had to throw away potatoes because there was no one to buy them. Meanwhile, there were miles long of cards for food banks. Yeah, exactly. And it's still going on, Kenny. There's still miles long of lines of cars for food banks. There's still tons of need for food banks. So you would think, common sense would say, but we already know our governments don't have common sense, right? Our city and state-run governments don't have common sense for the life of them. Which is why all of a sudden, oh yeah, well, for child safety. It's not for child safety. I mean, the one in Parksdale, I do believe we watched one show on it, where it literally showed that they had cameras watching it. So, what child safety? And then you have university students, college students, even high school students, where they've had the food, the community fridge, and the students coming and getting some lunch and stuff like that. Oh, wait a minute. Does that mean that it cuts out on forcing the parents? Hey, Rye, welcome in. Does that mean that it cuts out forcing the parents to have to pay for their children to eat at school? Well, we can't have that, right? Let's be realistic. These grocery stores. My first lesson about capitalism when I was about 16. We used to buy big bags of donuts, dollar bags. It would be enough to feed us for the entire day and the next. Obviously, we're poor. Said it was health and safety issues. Obviously, they stopped selling them to us because their boss said it was a health and safety issue, and would rather throw them all away. Damn. Yeah, that sounds about right. They're not making a profit off of it. They're not making the full profit that they demand. So therefore, we need to throw it away because we can't sell it at a lesser cost. And then just throw it away in the garbage. Yeah, that makes sense. Somehow that just makes perfect sense. Hey, the Ferret King, thank you for following. That's weird. Normally it does. Oh man, you kidding me, right? Of course, somebody probably complained to Twitch about the Columbus bit that I had for when you followed. Of course, some chud complained, right? Yeah, dude, we even considered going and getting the bags from the garbage each night. It was so nuts seeing that food there, and we were like literally starving. Yeah, exactly. You think someone would see that and then provide an alternative or something else? All these programs around us, and they don't help us, only in the industry. It's like there's an overproduction of milk, etc. in some countries, and starvation in other countries. It's super sad. there's not a way to sort this out. Oh, there is a way to sort it out. It just has nothing to do with capitalism. See, and so capitalism can't, these big corporates can't make a huge profit. So everyone, food must go to waste and people must starve. Because how dare you? I remember totally dumpster dived the bakery. Yeah. What? Well, wow. Don, that word is not acceptable in our chat. And if you wish to stay here, if the mods are already deciding to punch you, never mind. Too late. Bye-bye. Underpins how capitalism needs scarcity because it doesn't create value in extraction. Exactly, Kenny. I remember too, man. There were plenty of times when I had to sit back and wait till after midnight or 1 o'clock for those bags, garbage bags full of donuts. To go get them and to have something to eat. I remember plenty of times having to do that. Some of the staff, are pretty decent and will make sure that they don't put normal trash in it when they know. And so, you're not digging through it and having to pick through garbage and stuff for it. So, something just buzzed my door, so give me a few minutes and let us watch another Alice video.
Hey, what you think this is? Who you think you are? Who me? My name is Alice, and I'm a motherfucking outlaw, a outlaw. I'm a outlaw, a motherfucking outlaw. I drew the line in the sand. You better know where you stand. If you pumping with a strong heart, come on, tear this shit apart. I'm in the midst of my prime, Robin Hood with my crimes, making sure we staying healthy at every mealtime. Hey, you could be my lookout if you got some spine. Don't be making this music just cause I can rhyme. I stay making this music to neutralize the messages that be telling you to die. You're killing yourself. No, you're killing me with you. When you're killing yourself, no, you're killing me with you. Yo, I'ma try for a minute to get these words out. Talking for no reason, ain't what I'm about. So any speech you hear from me has got a deeper meaning. Not a college student, but I still be dreaming. No tips to it, but I still be leaning. Love to see the sellouts, things to squirm. Be dodging my knowledge like it was germs. Cause truth is a crucial part of it all. So we take it back every last time part to try to act like the devil, but I can spot an imposter. From a mile away, step to me, that's what I hear my mama say. Do no te dejes, mija. That's how I was raised. Do no te calles, mija. That's how I was raised. Así dice el machista. Ahí viene la maldita, la flaquita, la que siempre me grita. Con mi siempre se desquita. No sé por qué no le gusta que le digas mamacita. Hey chiquita. Do you know the meaning of the word fatigue? Walking everywhere at TikTok because fools of fans I don't stop down the street. No one ready to stay creeping. There you fuck with me, about to catch a beat. Now keep rocks in my pockets, mace on my chain. Warrior homies don't show restraint. They fully prepared to catch a case. Getting murked if your pleasure moves my pain. Getting murked if your pleasure moves my pain. Hey, what you think this is? Who you think you are? I'm a warrior for earth, a motherfucking outlaw. Ain't got no paper, so we stay alert. To dodge them haters, gotta stay even know if I'm gonna make it. But while I'm around, believe I'm gonna shake it up. Get your body loose when you thought you was stuck. Be alone when you wanna wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I don't even know if I'm gonna make it. While I'm around, believe I'm gonna shake it up. Get your body loose when you thought you was stuck. Be alone when you wanna wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Los pequeños no los había visto, acaban de nacer. Porque el papá es a la mamá.
What do we need? What have we lost? What is left? What do we need?
We need to intimately know the struggles of those who have managed to correct the course of history by exposing that the freedom in this country is forever limited by a badly disguised bigotry. We need those who give voice to the endless bitter battles, the limited choices of the poor, ignored and trampled, who advance the frantic masses that can barely dare to feel like they even deserve to breathe clean air. We need those who live their lives concerned and alert, willing to put in long hours of thankless hard work. Those who help us get some ends in a healthy sense, dodging the worst dirt done as a last resort. We need our comrades' stories to remain intact, cause our integrity's the first thing to come under attack. When the system detects that you have strong effects, it'll analyze a movement and carefully select on the leaders to discredit or adopt as their own. Tame my message of rebellion to secure the safety of the throne. This sad music to meditate and groove, helping you get low, get low, get low, while you get high, just trying to get by, get by. Get low, get low, get low. A warrior's tales are meticulously sanitized, whitewashed for standardized mass consumption, deliberate dissimulation functions to master true nature of a revolutionary. The vicious victors edited, rewritten history. Try so hard to make her ugly and go pretty. Try so hard to make her ugly and go pretty. Try so hard to make her ugly and go pretty. The vicious victors edited, rewritten history. Try so hard to make her ugly and go pretty. Try so hard to make her ugly and go pretty. Try so hard to make her ugly and go pretty. I wanna recall the way we were before the wars, before the hurt. I wanna recall the way we were before the wars, before the hurt.
Vuelvo al sur, como se vuelve siempre al amor. Vuelvo a vos, con mi deseo, con mi temor. Llevo el sur, como un destino del corazón. Soy del sur, como los aires del bandoneón.
There's a sacred sound to dignity, our Recognize media mouth with crow steel sharpened teeth. It'll chew up my starless dark as obsidian rock words. Twist and spit them back out as a possessed puppet speech. Try to brighten anger up by pouring on harsh bleach, but you can never bleach on the savage brown girl speech. These teachings embody the beauty and the strength of our poor people's army. Less talk, more action, cause our time is costly. We lost some precious ground, so we must move now. Liberation is the goal and brutal truth of vow. Cause the sacred sounds of dignity are ours to keep. The sacred sounds of dignity are ours to teach. The sacred sounds of dignity are ours to keep. The sacred sounds of dignity are ours to teach. The sacred sounds of dignity are ours to keep. The sacred sounds of dignity are ours to teach. Won't take this shit no more. Won't take this shit no more. Won't take this shit no more. No more. No more. No, never again. Never again. No more will we live off of the toxic legal rations. My people got the fire and the tactical actions. Been plotting and preparing cause we gotta see a change. And we can't wait for it tomorrow. No, we need it today.
Yes, I love that sister very much. It's awesome music, without a doubt. Yeah, you guys, you're right. You know, when they force companies, hey Sean, what's up, Cola? When they force these companies, you know, food companies and stuff, to literally do everything in their power so that poor people or homeless people can't eat. It's atrocious. No problem, Crystal. And thank you for subscribing, Crystal. Thank you very much for your subscription. I truly do appreciate it. You see, no one needs to thank me whatsoever. I owe more than I could have given in money. Aw. See, these are what we look at, right? So capitalists and these big corporations don't want, and these one percenters don't want, they want poor people to either die or to become slaves to them. They're like, oh, why can't you get a job? And you hear these people talk about it. If we get rid of the parasites eating away at Turtle Island's life would be wildly different. That's right. And parasites aren't being the poor people. They're too poor to cause a problem with eating away at Turtle Island. They can't afford to be causing all this eco damage the same way big corporations do. And the rich. Hey Days, afternoon, welcome in buddy. So, this is where you get, like what Kenny was talking about, how in Toronto, they tried to shut down one of the community fridges, claiming it was unsafe for children. Um, because some corporation in that area did not like that people were getting free food and didn't necessarily have to go and go into debt more. Or further into poverty by selling some of the things they own in order to walk into that big corporate and buy whatever they had there. And if you noticed, any of you, some of the cost of things have increased. Not because of inflation, but because of COVID. Hey Sean, thank you for the sub, bro. Thank you for the subscription. I worked in banquets and my boss lied that we couldn't give donations. The law just required them to be packaged and shipped in a certain way, and it was cheaper to throw them out. Yeah, exactly. Aw. Thank you, Bubbles, for gifting a sub to Comrade Kenny. It being the season of Christmas, a joke of a tradition so bastardized its origins are almost totally forgotten. Let me thank the creator of this universe for carpenter trees that were, what a blessing they are. Food donations specifically, yeah. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, I'm presently trying to slowly, because I'm on disability up here in Canada, so I can only make a certain amount above what I get on disability every month. So there's a donation link on my page, and I set it low enough so that way I don't go over what I'm permitted to make extra each month, and to put it in to a secured tax-free savings account, so that way I can save it up and get a new computer, because literally I like literally have the poorest, cheapest possible computer possible, that literally, like, the only thing I can use to stream is Twitch Studio rather than OBS or Streamlabs. I can't use any of that. It just gives me a black screen. So yes, I am currently trying to save up to get myself a new computer, one that I can do a much better job of providing you with nicer content and such. And a nicer screen to look at. And more fun things. So basically, yeah, that's what we look at. It's all it is corporations. They don't want anyone to be able to turn around and be able to feed and not starve without them making a huge profit off of it. They don't even like homeless shelters or food banks, really. They really don't. Which is why you'll see, rather than U.S. food waste is at like what, like 43% of what we produce. Yeah, exactly. So that 43% that's going to waste, that's being produced, can literally feed everyone in the United States, all the homeless people, everything. Yeah, closer to 50%, yeah. Yeah. So that 50% of food waste could be feeding everyone that can't afford to eat properly, or doesn't have the income to eat properly, or is homeless. That could be feeding all of them without getting a skimpy meal, or it's enough to feed literally the global starving population, not just the U.S. Yeah, Days. Exactly, right? But we can't have that. Capitalists won't make money. Yeah, exactly, Sean. Same thing with Canada. But why would we do that, right? Because these poor people, they just need to get off their ass and quit being lazy and go out there and get a job, right? It's their fault. Yeah. I find it interesting. Hey, Skills New York City, thank you for the follow. I find it interesting. One of the most horrible things we've done on Earth is pollute our sustainable food sources. You can't even eat fish, oysters, or wild plants. Yeah. Sweet. Wild plants in or near streams and creeks in most populated. Yeah, exactly. In the 8 years I worked in restaurants, I probably throw out enough food to feed 100,000 people. It's hard for me to phrase that with my morals. Yeah, I get you. So even if you're poor, you can't go fishing or eat most plants on suburban and city areas. Yeah, exactly. And you know whose fault that is? I mean, if we're really honest about it, whose fault is it that we're at this point? Like, let's be honest about it. Whose fault is it really? Because we as a people vote them in. These same people. I actually watched an interesting video about pipeline buffers and farmers that are starting to set up near their water sources to help protect from chemical and waste runoff. Is obviously isn't a popular practice, but they're pushing really hard to expand the size of their pipeline zones. Yeah. So corporations are going to sit there and spend and lobby politicians. we, the people, put in these politicians. So what are you guys talking about today? Hey, Neurovisions. The fact that, you know, we waste about 50% of our food production. So because capitalism can't seem to make money off of it, and rather than feeding everybody and feeding the starving and hungry and poor people, they'd rather waste it and let it go being destroyed without, and you know. In Chile, they made it illegal at one point for poor people to collect rainwater. With climate change coming and water now on the stock market as a commodity, we can expect these laws, and along with a lot of other horrible things under the same banner. Yeah, Kenny, I can see that too. You contain water in most cities. Yeah, serious TV. Yeah. Literally. You can't go and set up that because, oh my God. I mean, if you live in a third world country, or third world, the water wars are already very, very real. Yeah. Yeah, Days. Like, what do you mean, is it just you at the moment? Natural Visions? Who else are we expecting? Are we expecting people? Who were we expecting to see? I don't understand. Please explain. Yes, Sean, exactly. Casper the friendly white guy? Good one, Solaris. That was a good one. That is true, Natural Visions. Most reservations in US and Canada live like third world countries, yes. But I'm still wondering who I'm supposed to have in here with me. Oh, and you usually have other people talking with you. That's what I meant. Oh no, you came in on the Xmas special, on the no one needs to be alone during this holiday special. That I decided to open up my voice chat in my Discord and have a panel and stuff. I don't always do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I am looking at doing it more and more. But I also realized that there were some things that happened that were caused hiccups, and that I need to make sure doesn't. But yeah. And yes, Sean, reservation is just a nice way to say prisoner of war camp. Yes, exactly. It is. The patterns were really cool. We had lots of different indigenous people from different nations and bands bring our different perspectives to issues facing us. Yeah. Well, there was just some hiccups, and I need to correct that. But yeah, I'm looking at doing that much more often. And that's through me, not through somebody else, nor in conjunction with someone else. Which would be what my comments of my topics of one of the things about thought patterns of proper indigenous etiquette when visiting relatives from another nation, whether it be in real life or on Twitch, that we respect each other's domains. Okay, Hildy, not a problem. Hey, Daniel. That was the first world country when it's been in total shambles since the colonizers came to the land. Welcome in, Daniel. So, what we look at is respect. When someone invites you into their home, you have to show respect to those people. You can't come in and take it over or try to claim like or act like you know better than them or whatever. You're stepping into someone else's territory, someone else's home. You have to show respect. Oh my God, Bubbles! Thank you, Bubbles, you're awesome. Wow. Bubbles with the 1K biddy. Damn! So, this is what we look at. When it's not like, it's basically learning how to respect people. Some people have a hard time with these things, and it's easy to see. And it's easy to point that out. But respect is the utmost important and the number one thing. To show respect for the person's house you're in. You can't literally go in there and decide that you're going to take over everything, because no, you'll end up being unwelcomed. Bubbles is the most wholesome person on Twitch. Kenny, you have no idea, bro, but you're correct. I've met people who come to Canada and lived in the big cities and finally came to a reservation and had no idea reserves. Yeah, Visions. So, yeah, Sean. That could even be doing dishes too. She is the most wholesome streamer. Yeah, that's why I adopted her as my Twitch daughter. Well, one of the reasons. So these are things that you have to look at. You have to remember. You have to remember where you are. Like when you start your own streaming, then you can run your stream however you want. But when you go into somebody else's, you have to respect how they do things. And if you don't, then you're being disrespectful and rude. And usually what ends up happening is that you find yourself unwelcomed. And people won't want you around anymore. Because you do not show respect. And respect is a very important thing. This applies in everything, in every situation that you look at. I've noticed respect can be mimicked in many degrees, but true, organic, genuine respect seems to me like something that is either inherent in a person or not. Yeah, Crystal. But respect is also something that is learned in a process, along with being disrespectful. I mean, there are those odd few. Even in the case of the council house, it's everyone's council house, so everyone needs to respect all the speakers and visitors. Yeah. Or you go to a different nation or a different tribe or a different society. You respect how they do things. You respect that you're not in your house, that you're in someone else's house. And you show respect for that. What's this? This is apparently my most liked tweet, which I posted in response to a Turning Point tweet about their video, want to see a failed socialism go to an Indian reservation. Made a content force its inhabitants into tiny plots of unsustainable land, give them little to nothing, and say socialism, which has never been truly adopted in this country, failed them. This is false. It mirrors the U.S. policy of stomping down any form of socialism worldwide. Yeah. No worries. But you're correct in that. I've had people who have allowed to stay at my place when they needed a place to stay. They never helped around the house, pulling up dishes, leaving the room. They stayed in messy. Just never showed any respect. And I don't like it when I have to tell my family to leave when they're acting like that. But you have to do what you have to do. Yeah, all functioning cooperatives are proof of socialism works. Yes, yes. Yep. We see as I have been blessed with the knowledge, what I have learned is before colonists conquered and enslaved indigenous peoples, they conquered and enslaved their own women and even men with no property. It isn't hard to do to dot. It isn't hard to dot to. It isn't a hard dot to connect. What they then did to other cultures they came across. Yeah, Crystal, that is true. Except I'm not too sure I agree completely with we being conquered. Conquered implied that the United States beat us on a fair war when they could not. Indigenous culture, at least my nation, the local nation and air corporations, we're living proof that communal societies is not only possible but works better than what we live in today. That is true, Sean. What are your thoughts on Trump? Who's Trump? Who's Biden? The only people who should be referring to indigenous people as Indians are indigenous people. It shows a complete lack of respect for anyone else to do it, since Indian isn't their country or there isn't their identity, and it's what we called them because we were too incompetent and landed in a different place than what we were expecting to go. And it is the height of ignorance and arrogance. Yep, you're right. You don't make treaties with conquered people. That's right, Sean. I honestly considered a different word and impulsively used conqueror. I'm here to learn, and certainly defer to your experience much more than anything I personally. Okay, that's cool. Bubbles. Vote Mark Charles. I remember the fierce resistance to bans proposing having gaming on their lands so that they could bring in funds to survive. Yeah, exactly, right? Can't have those Indians getting money or getting upside. They'll get uppity. They might uprise. If you're no longer Indian, not indigenous. Yeah, he's East Indian, right, Serres? East Indian, right? Okay. See, this is what I mean. Yeah, this is what I mean. Columbus got lost at sea trying to find India. And when he landed and when he washed up on the shores here on Turtle Island and came across indigenous people, it was, oh, they're Indians. He's like, hey, these people are Indians, obviously. Yeah, right? Yeah. The French were the only ones to remotely respect indigenous traditions and trade and hunting practices in the early days of Eastern Seaboard colony. Yeah, days. Yeah, pretty much. It's not humanity's desire, it's specifically a white Western desire, which, since we live in a colonized state, colonial state, we assume it's human nature because everyone else. But white people aren't human and had no civilization. I always push back against the narrative about human nature because we used to justify all the horrible stuff we do in the name of capitalism. So we should work to not add to it, even in casual speech. That's smart, Kenny. That's very smart. Good thought. Columbus, for instance, saw the Tantos generous and peaceful society and a sign of their primitive culture, and he immediately set about to enslave them and steal from them. Yeah. The only problem is that they realized that And you see, at first they wanted to enslave indigenous people, and do what they did to the black people. But the indigenous people weren't interested, and they couldn't turn us into slaves. Yeah, visions. The Vikings did show up first. They stayed for one season and went back home. They lost quite a few people because they could not handle the winters, and had no way to, like, you know, they were more of a raiding party, and so it didn't pan out very well for them, and they ended up going back. But Columbus, I don't know why, other than the factor that trying to use Columbus and keeping Columbus as the main figure, to try and, you know, lay claim that that England back in the day had some more claim than the Vikings did. Ancient history is such a mystery still. There is evidence West Africans came to North America long before Columbus. Yeah, Sean. They and the Polynesians and scores of other civilized visited us before Columbus did. Yeah. Pacific Islanders, New Zealand, Australia. All of this minimizing the people they colonized is part of Terranos. They lie. They tell themselves that what they did isn't wrong, because the land was empty and they brought civilization to it. Yeah, really? I mean, you have a large percentage of the people in North America not even believing in evolution, or Eve out of Africa. So yeah, exactly. So they lie and say indigenous people were tribes. Meanwhile, Anishinaabe trails are the exact same as interstate highways. Yeah. Yep. But they don't want to teach you that. That would disrupt the narrative. Visions, yes and no. Back in those days, war was the last thing that tribes wanted, because It usually cut down numbers of the tribe, which made it harder for the tribe to survive. It was horrifically costly to go to war. So war was the very last resort. The very extreme last resort. And the Haudenosaunee Nation arguably inspired what we call modern day democracy. Yes, Crystal. That's Sean, that's true. Including astrology, biology, all of those things. Our kids knew that. You see, visions, they like to make us sound like we're some huge warring people and nothing was new. I like that picture you displayed, Geronimo. Did the man really have powers? Yes. Natural visions? Yes, they did. Same thing with Crazy Horse. Which is what scared the shit out of the United States government and military. You're right, Sean. We understood a lot of things that apparently were supposedly, savages and uneducated, uncivilized. Yes, there's, yeah. Visions. I'm not from his tribe, so I'm sorry, but I don't really know the full story on that. You would have to find someone from their tribe that knows their full story on it. Oh, another wall of text. Feels so new better than to be capitalist. I'm reading a book right now called "As We Have Always Done" by indigenous author who is showing how indigenous ways have always been anti-capitalistic, down to the creation myth and deities, i.e. Nanabush, etc. It's part of my frustration with the white left, because they are ultimately seeking a return to the way of being that their society purposely minimized. And if they don't learn this stuff, they will continue it. Yeah, you're right. Good grief, you got the COVID? No. I have extremely damaged lungs. So I avoid people in order to get to not get the COVID. I think he might have been Navajo, but maybe Sean might know. Or Apache. He might be Apache. I have that book, saved it to my reading list on Amazon. I'm waiting. Apache, yeah. Sean says Apache, so yeah, that sounds about right to me too, Apache. So yeah, Solaris, oh yeah, Apache, you're right, yeah. Yeah, so that's why you hear me cough and stuff like that. It's not because I got COVID, it's because I have severely damaged lungs. Geronimo was a stone cold badass. It's amazing we are currently going over it on my stream whenever we do book club. I spent 8 hours on the first 2 chapters. Nice, Kenny. And this is what I try to explain, like, if the left truly wanted to get away from capitalism wholeheartedly, without a shadow of a doubt, they would be looking at the UN ruling for UNDRIP, and literally like supporting indigenous people in every aspect and inviting indigenous people, bringing indigenous people in, you know what I mean, like literally. I always try to learn about indigenous stuff. My bros and sisters are indigenous, but it's not for that reason, but because I'm anti-imperialist and therefore I must decolonize. I must be decolonial, and my journey of decolonization includes not repeating colonialistic violence, like not respecting the cultures whose land I'm on. Yeah, exactly, Kenny. I'm not sure. I met a man from Africa. Not sure what tribe he was, but we do have some similarities in our legend stories. Yeah. Welcome to Indigenous people. We have trade routes. We connect. We talk. We share. We make trade. And once again, we are not the enemies that they have made us out to be and fooled you all through Hollywood and all these other stupid shit. I think if the left in general wanted to destroy capitalism, they would start each conversation. They would start each conversation of theory by referencing indigenous people from all over the globe. When they start with that as a framing, it completely defeats the capitalist narrative before it can start and dramatically changes the discussion. Yes, very much so, Sean. Very much so. Huge agree with this, Kenny, because I am anti-imperialistic, therefore I must be decolonial. And my journey of decolonization includes not repeating colonial violence, like not respecting the cultures whose land I own. That's my daughter. Synchronicity. Religion and spiritualism is definitely a thing. To me, it's the greatest evidence that there is no superior race or culture. And that as humans, we are equally intelligent and come to the same conclusions even when we don't interact directly. Exactly. Yes, Dace. Yes. Catalyst. Indigenous cultures have proven endlessly they know more about logical science and the human vessel and the universe at large more than any modern civilization ever. Yes, Catalyst. Crystal, yeah. I spent hours learning how to properly pronounce Haudenosaunee, yeah, Kanesatake. And yeah, Kanawagi, Kanesatake. For the podcast I was recording because it felt like stuttering, stammering, and mispronouncing their names was colonial violence. Like, show some respect and learn how to pronounce it at least. Exactly. That's true, Kenny. Hey, look, it's Rye. I've noticed a lot of white leftists try to shut us down when we have any critique of how they act. Oh, that's very true. That's very true. I always try to learn more about my culture. My grandfather is really traditional, and I always try to get every ounce of knowledge out of him. Good visions. That's a start. Unfortunately, for years now, the left has been acting horizontally instead of up. Yeah, dazed. White leftists do it anytime you bring up anything that isn't like suburbia white. Yeah. So there's also if it doesn't suit the narrative. Yeah. We're called out as being divisive for asking them not to be racist. Yeah. There are so many these with the Anishinaabe. My homie was telling me about a deity they have who is responsible for good character, and I was like, we call that thing, yeah. I tend to notice if I'm on a panel with other leftists that are white, they tend to interrupt a bit more. Being on the red councils that you were hosting, we all took turns speaking. Exactly, Sean. See, that's the difference. When you go into that are council or panels that are set up and done mostly by white people, they want to control the narrative, and they will overtalk you, score points, try and belittle you, but that's not how indigenous people do it. He tells me our culture is about everything. Knowing the land, knowing survival, knowing how to hunt, knowing to show respect. He teaches me a lot. Good. That's how it is everywhere, at work, in academia, etc. I'm not used to it because in my community, we allow people to speak. Exactly right. See, that's indigenous culture all over the world. Yes, Sean. White people also apparently struggle pronouncing Hebrew names, like you can't say the name Adam, Jacob, or Daniel. Yeah, Daniel. Yeah. You see, I don't want to, like, throw anybody underneath the bus. But we need to start calling it out more. Because if the left is really about what they talk about, then this shouldn't be an issue of like, oh, wait a minute, you're being decisive, or you're being this, or you're being that. They should be willing to accept the factor that maybe they haven't let go of capitalism and colonialism in the way in which they proclaim. Maybe they're still clinging on to that. And they need to re-examine themselves. Go into introspect. To see if that makes sense. I know I am, because it was my upbringing. Yes, a lot of us too. Hey dude, I grew up being stolen from my family at 3 months old and forced to grow up in a white world with white parents. I'm 22, I go out on the land alone. Since I was 15, I know a lot about it, but I still have a lot more to learn. You are always learning. It's because they see their identity as being a leftist and not being white. So they reproduce the violence they claim to be against. Yeah, exactly. And then they love to correct people whose English isn't the first language. Yep, that's right as well, Daniel. And act like you don't know anything because you can't speak my white language. Yet, why haven't you taken the time to learn our fucking languages? Personally, on the last panel on here, a white woman suggested that maybe indigenous people should get their own feminist groups to teach feminism. And it was genuine. But I was like, they already do. It's part of their culture. It has been for thousands of years. They don't need institutions / certain hierarchies, because their culture teaches this way of being a normal living, i.e. grounded normativity. Yeah. English is my second language, by the way. Not a problem, Daniel. Decolonizing is very difficult. But the first step is to decolonize yourself and understand indigenous etiquette. Yes, Sean. English is such a confusing language. You're right, pieces of work. They moralize being a leftist and don't recognize how they perpetrate hegemony, and it's hard to speak to those people. That's true too, right? Literally, the hideous one sparked the feminist movement, and the first feminist meeting in the U.S. were the Seneca in New York, I believe. I think so too, Crystal. I'm going to have war women. Women played an enormous role in our nation and in the Lakota and Cree nations. Yes, that's true, Sean. But you have to remember, like, everyone, like for my people with the Sioux, everyone was equal. If that makes any sense. We were all equal. No one was better than nor less than. Mashke gland here can be very dangerous. There are holes in the pond swamps, yeah. If you fall in them, you'll never be seen again. I always wondered where these holes led to. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah. Wow. That's right, Sean. Everyone had an important part to play in our respective nations. That's right. No one held themselves above anyone else. Just reading Sisters in Spirit alone opened my eyes to so much that's been hidden beneath the veil. Yes, Crystal. Y'all are making me so fucking proud. I just want you to know that. That reminded me, my dad is watching those crime dramas like FBI, CSI. Today there was an episode that touched upon generalization of indigenous. generational indigenous trauma. So that was something. Then again, I don't like how these crime dramas tend to portray. Yeah, yeah, I know. And same with us in Africa societies. The women were some of the greatest warriors, from Queen Candace defeated Rome to the Amazons of the royal guards of the king, like Black Panther. The idea of women as the weaker sex is entirely colonial construct based on normalizing patriarchy. That's right. Yeah, it's just the fact that women started abolition basically alone is never really acknowledged. Yeah. I'm learning so much for you about my cousins on Turtle Island, Masu. Aw, right? There's plenty more to learn. Stick around. We're just getting warmed up. The episode ended with the trope of the only BIPOC that works in the force that kind of sort of saved the day or something like that. Dang, Daniel. My theory about those holes are that they lead to another lake and muskeg lands. Maybe this is how fish get into the lakes. You know, that's quite possible. There are many places on this turtle island that connect through tunnels. Underneath the ground, so yeah. You know, it literally makes my heart jump for joy when I see everyone sitting back and starting to understand what I'm talking about, or you know, start learning things and realizing things and growing. It does my heart good. It makes me very proud. This is the whole purpose of why I started streaming, was to help educate, to help people to learn, to understand. That's the whole purpose and reasoning. Yeah, well, that's a good thing. And I want to see more. I'm not interested. I don't want to be the one and only. My goal is not to say that I am the one and only expert. I don't even want recognition. Aw. I love you too, Bubbles. I don't want to ever be called the expert or the one and only who has any authority or knowledge or any of that shit. I want you all to learn so that there's more of us equally doing our own thing, educating everyone. All right. I love you too, right? That's what I mean. I'm not here to be the big kahuna. My grandfather, how by himself a place doesn't recognize. He still learns about how to do that. It's hard in community because I don't know what stars you'd look at to follow. You will learn. We're still reading the Great Law of Peace on Saturday. Yes, Bubbles. Which is fucking awesome. But you know what I mean, Sean? Indigenous people are humble. We understand humility. We don't try and act like we're better than anyone else or that we're smarter than anyone else or like we're the big kahuna. Because everyone is equal and everyone has a gift. Me too, Lasu. I really appreciate your voice on here. I want to learn. It's only right. Not a problem, Kenny. You're always welcome here. Knowledge is held by the community. We share with each other. Exactly, right? Exactly. Nobody is the ultimate expert. Nobody is that big kahuna. We all are. If that makes any sense. And if anything, of course, you and you are part of the reason why I tried to bring an indigenous perspective to the stream and come, and I do. It's more important for me to teach others that indigenous people are complex and have a stake in what goes on with turtle island. Yeah, Sean. Exactly. We have a saying back home where I'm from. When someone sits there and tries to act like they have a big ego and that they're the only ones who have knowledge and power and anyone else doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, from other indigenous tribes or cultures like that, indigenous cultures or tribes, that's not how we are. That's not how we as people are. Indigenous life is about balance, humility, and equality. So, we always say when you see someone like that that is trying to be ego boosting and controlling, if one band or nation got a little too cocky, they got sat back down pretty quick. Exactly, Sean. Exactly, right? And Sean gets what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, right? Your willingness to teach us, to teach me, someone you don't know, is a service to all people, even those who might not seemingly deserve such insight. All human beings deserve to live in equality, with honor, dignity, love, respect. All human beings deserve it, regardless of your race. Because one day, one of these days in the very near future, us indigenous people are going to be your landlords again. Just saying. Yeah, exactly, Guy. See, like I said the other day, like, of course you should learn about indigenous cultures. You don't have to deserve it. Yeah. Like I said the other day, the medicine wheel is a very in-depth and very personal. So when I first started learning about the medicine wheel, I just got the basics thrown at me. Here you go. Figure it out. When society falls apart and there is no power, you need to go back to the bush. And a lot of non-natives know nothing about the bush life. Yeah, well, they can learn, and we can help them to learn. Yeah. I think in this context, what's being said is knowledge and compassion are fundamental rights of all humans. That's how I interpreted what he was saying. Yeah. I had a fantastic older professor who was ex-CIA, very leftist in his old age. He went very in depth into the reality of the treatment of indigenous people. Hearing it from someone who was on the wrong side was extremely eye-opening for me. Yeah, it is. Yes, our people are very peaceful and forgiving. Payback isn't our thing. That's right, Visions. Payback isn't our thing. We don't want payback. What's the point of payback? It doesn't get any of us anywhere. We're more about healing. And helping to learn the lessons of the past so that we can change today and the future. Exactly, Sean. Exactly. We can just move forward. But the conservatives and the neo-libs can't push the narrative of otherism without the fear-based rhetoric that they'll come for our heads if they ever get power. Yeah, I know. Dazed. I know. No, it doesn't. I respect when other BIPOC say they don't want to live with white people. I might not agree, but I understand their hesitation. A lot of us are deeply hurt by colonialism. Yes, Raya, a lot of us are. Kenny, if you can do something about trying to help get rid of the Jason Kenney in Alberta, I'm sure majority of Albertans would greatly appreciate it. Yeah, exactly, Kenny. Well, technically, the property doesn't belong to the feds. Yes, we're not looking to put everyone that's not indigenous back onto the Mayflower and send them back across the sea. England wouldn't even want them back. They'd just be setting adrift at sea. No country would want them back. The idea of physical separation is fine. It's called emerging, and it's a dialect based in the material reality that getting away from people trying to kill you is a good thing. No one would take us. I actually sat there and had a conversation with some English people and said, hey, even Canada doesn't want my super spreader ass. No one wants the super spreader ass, Dazed. Sorry, bro. Love you, but keep that shit over there where you are, bro. We got enough shit going on up here. But still love you. What our people went through for thousands of years, including to this day. Generational trauma is real, and I'm hoping to end that with me and not let it go further with my kids. Good visions, good. It is important for us to end the cycle. But you cannot end a cycle by ignoring the past. or forgetting about it, or you cannot end a cycle that way. It has to be something that is faced, dealt with, and healing come from it. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. Not the usual, well, just get over it already. I find it's supremely ironic that the two biggest colonizers are being isolated, because the same attitude that let them colonize the planet is the same attitude that is now letting COVID run wild in their countries and forcing other people to keep them away. Yeah, Kenny, exactly right. I'm sure everyone here understands the word making, or the words making amends. Making amends, it's when you've done something wrong and you try to make amends for it, to correct it, to learn from it, to not make the same mistakes, to make amends. Well, you cannot heal. It's hard to heal from generational trauma and genocide without there being some form of amends. And that's not just a public, oh, sorry, it's actual actions in that aspect, right? So even when my nation in particular gets land back, the East and West bands have been separated for such a long time that there's most likely no real way we could just pick back up in the American Southeast like nothing happened. Yeah, we can start. I have come to understanding in my own privilege, and that privilege of other white people in the West, that its basis as the privilege just not to think about any of this, to be able to turn off the icky feelings of colonialism and imperialism, even if you acknowledge them and have some empathy. Yeah, dazed. Yeah. You guys are doing awesome. I am very proud of you all. I want you to know that. I'm very proud of you all. So let's see what we got going on today in my... we can't do George Carlin. Oh, yes.
Do you ever find yourself in a deep disconnect? Or maybe you haven't been aware of yourself doing something or why you did it? Why is it so important to know yourself and to improve on your self-awareness? Watch this video to find out how you can know yourself and increase your self-awareness. I'm Mallory Anishtabakwa from TribalTradeCo.com. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for new videos every week on smudging, the indigenous culture, and native teachings. Why is it so important to know yourself? If you've ever struggled with feeling connected to your own spirit and practicing self-awareness, then this video is for you. Watch this video to find out why self-awareness is so important and to learn 3 quick steps to get to know yourself better. At Tribal Trade, we help our community apply traditional indigenous teachings to their modern everyday life and to connect with themselves on their own path to spiritual wellness. But how can we achieve this? Knowing your own spirit and discovering self-awareness can dramatically improve your quality of life. It's easy to let others tell us who we are. Learning who we are for ourselves is harder. The journey to knowing yourself can be painful, spiritual, and deeply healing. Now, before we get started on discovering self-awareness and knowing yourself, let's first begin with why it's so important in the first place. Increased self-awareness leads to increased emotional intelligence, which makes us more focused and adaptable to our surroundings in our everyday life. Those who practice self-awareness are more well-equipped to identify and deal with their emotions, making them stronger leaders, more dedicated partners, and confident thinkers as well. Instead of being weighed down by the expectations and perceptions of others, pivoting your focus on your own expectations of yourself can dramatically improve your quality of life. Losing touch with our core values and needs can make us feel lonely or misunderstood. Without a clear understanding of who we are, it's easy to let others tell us who we are and spend our lives living up to their standards instead of our own. Feelings like we don't know ourselves or like others don't know the real us can lead to feelings of depression and isolation. One thing that has helped me with this on a spiritual level has been to smudge with sage and express my feelings and allow the healing powers that smudging with sage possesses. If you've never smudged with sage before, then watch this video right here on what to say when you're smudging your space. Whether you want to excel at your job or build stronger relationships with your friends or your partner, or just feel more at peace with yourself, a heightened sense of self-awareness can get you on the right track for feeling more fulfilled. Almost all human beings spend more time with ourselves than with anyone else. By developing a strong sense of self first, we then develop a stronger emotional and mental toughness to deeply understand those around us, our society, our work, and our world. Do you ever do something that you just don't recognize in yourself and think, oh gosh, I don't know why I did that or where that came from? Please share with us in the comments below. So now we know why it's so important to be self-aware and to know yourself. We've broken down 3 steps that you can follow to get to know yourself better. The first step that you could take to get to know yourself is to identify your thoughts, feelings, and your values. These things generally comprise your overall personality and can help you feel more secure in who you are. This can be as simple as asking yourself simple questions. How would I describe myself? What is most important to me? How do I want others to perceive me? What are some of my defining experiences and how have they shaped me? You can ask yourself these questions by speaking them out loud and just having a conversation with yourself, or even writing them down in a journal, similar to a gratitude journal. If you've never written a gratitude journal before, watch this video right here on how to get started with writing your very own gratitude journal. Having an open and honest reflection on the core components of who you are will lead to a greater understanding of yourself. And if you're honest with yourself about who you are then more likely to be honest with others as well. Now, the second step that you could could take to get to know yourself is to acknowledge any fears and doubts. Understanding who you are isn't just about identifying the good parts. You want to be honest with yourself about the parts of your existence that you might not be proud of. Understand your weaknesses, fears, limits, and doubts. If you find something that really scares you, it might be beneficial to face that fear. Adversity, fear, and adrenaline all actually activate different stimuli in our brain that are crucial to understanding how we function. You might learn something about yourself that you never knew simply by being in a new setting or being faced with a new challenge. Identify the why fears and weaknesses. Can you overcome them? Or can you accept them as part of what makes you uniquely you? Either choice is correct, but making a conscious choice as to whether you're going to let it control you or own it is a crucial part of self-awareness. The third step that you could take to get to know yourself is to question everything. As humans, our experiences, our relationships, and even our genetics define us. But understanding these components of ourselves and choosing to accept them or challenge them can lead us to not only a greater understanding of ourselves, but also a true sense of peace. Now, after watching this video, you know exactly how to get to know yourself better, why that's so important, and to discover self-awareness. If you're wanting to learn more about the various sacred medicines and the smudging process, then download our free smudging guide at the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.
That's good. That's very good, Visions. Right on. So, does that make sense to anyone? Or is it just me? Because that made a shit ton of sense to me. Ooh. Here's one for all you guys.
While we're all enjoying our day, we're going to lose 12 men to suicide today. In my work, we talk a lot about the fact that 76% of all suicides are male, and that this silent killer is claiming the lives of more men under 45 than anything else. And I can't help but find myself asking, why is that? Doesn't that trouble you? Because it troubles me. These are our brothers, fathers, uncles, partners, sons. These are our friends, and they decide to die. I think
There. I forgot to turn the mic back on. I was just gonna say, y'all stop it. No, it was mine. Sorry. I was gonna say, y'all stop it. Y'all gonna make me cry. And not a cry of pain or sadness, but a cry of joy and being proud of you all. Y'all in my community are making me very proud. And I'm honored that you all are a part of my community. What does that say, boomer? Is Hildy calling me a boomer? Hildy, are you calling me a boomer? Have you all watched any Huey Newton interviews on here? Yeah, I've done a few different things. Oh, now Comrade Bubbles is calling me a boomer. Yes, I am, because I am older. Because I am older than Turtle Island. It's okay, I'm a boomer too. All right. I think there's only a handful of youngins. Bubbles. Oh, sorry, I had to clear my throat. Oh, dude, I don't know. Now this technology stuff works. I am 29 next month. I'm old as pie. Aw. Hey, man, I'm like getting close to my 50s. So, you know. Yeah, I'm like 29 or I'll be 49 in January. I wish I was 29. I'll be 49 on January 12th. And then after that, I have only one more year left till I'm 50. I'm going to go dust off and spend an hour or so with my family. Okay, Hildy, give my niece big hugs and kisses from her uncle. Tell her I love her very deeply and very much, and I'm very proud of her. Please and thank you. Be safe out there, Hildy. Okay, Dave, see you later. Have a good day. And good for you. So, I would love to do some James Baldwin, but I'm not too sure this dude won't use the wrong language. Dang. Well, let me know when you need to do that, right? And I'll miss you when you're gone. Okay. Yeah, I'm not fully sure how long I'm going to stream today. I'm still trying to rest up from my 38 hour and almost a half stream from Xmas. So I'm still trying to, allow myself to catch up on well-needed rest and stuff. Out of 38 hours, I only had like 6 hours of sleep. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try this James Baldwin debates at Buckley in 1965. I'm hoping that there's nothing that I need to be concerned about.
The following program is from NET, the National Educational Television Network.
Debate: James Baldwin versus William Buckley. Subject: Has the American dream been achieved at the expense of the American Negro? This debate was held recently at the Cambridge Union, Cambridge University, England, and was recorded for use by NET.
Well, here we are in the debating hall of the Cambridge Union. Hundreds of undergraduates and myself waiting for what could prove one of the most exciting debates in the whole 150 years of the Union history. I don't think I've ever seen the Union so well attended. There are undergraduates everywhere. They're on the benches, they're on the floor, they're in the galleries, and there are a lot more outside clamoring to get in. Well, the motion that has drawn this huge crowd tonight is this: that the American dream has been achieved at the expense of the American Negro. The debate will open with two undergraduate speakers, one from each side, and then we shall have the first distinguished guest, Mr. James Baldwin, the well-known American novelist who's achieved a worldwide fame with his novel, Another Country. Then opposing the motion will be Mr. William Buckley, also an American, very well known as a conservative in the United States. I must stress, a conservative in the American sense, author of a book called Up from Liberalism, and editor of the National Review, one of the early supporters of Senator Goldwater. Well, this is the setting of the debate, and at any moment now the President will be leading in his officers and his distinguished guests. He'll take his chair, and the debate will begin.
The motion before the House tonight is, the American dream is at the expense of the American Negro. We propose of Mr. David Haycock of Pembroke College, and oppose of Mr. Jeremy Burford of Emmanuel College. Mr. James Baldwin will speak third. Mr. William F. Buckley Jr. will speak fourth. Mr. Haycock is the ear of the House.
Mr. President, sir, it is the custom of the House for the first speaker in any debate to extend a formal welcome to any visitors to the House. I can honestly say, however, that it is a very great honor to be able to welcome to the House this evening Mr. William Buckley and Mr. James Baldwin. Mr. William Buckley has the reputation of possibly being the most articulate conservative in the United States of America. He was a graduate of Yale, and he first gained a reputation for himself by publishing a book entitled God and Man and Yale. Since then, he has devoted himself to the secular, and this has included Norman Mailer, Kenneth Tynan, Mary McCarthy, and Fidel Castro, none of whom have come out of their confrontations unscathed. At present, his principal occupation is editing a right-wing newspaper in the United States entitled The National Review. Mr. James Baldwin is hardly in need of introduction. His reputation, both as a novelist and as an advocate of civil rights, is international. His third novel, Another Country, has been published as a paperback in England today. Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Buckley are both very welcome to the House this evening. Imagine, Mr. President, a society which above all values freedom and equality. A society in which artificial barriers to fulfillment and achievement are unheard of. A society in which a man may begin his life as a rail splitter and end it as president. A society in which all men are free in every sense of the word. Free to live where they choose, free to work where they choose. Equal in the eyes of the law and every public authority, and equal in the eyes of their fellows. A society, in fact, in which intolerance and prejudice are meaningless terms. Imagine, however, Mr. President, that a condition of this utopia has been the persistent and quite deliberate exploitation of 1/9 of its inhabitants. That 1 man in 9 has been denied those rights which the rest of that society takes for granted. That 1 man in 9 does not have the chance for fulfillment or realization of his innate potentialities. That 1 man in 9 cannot promise his children a secure future and unlimited opportunities. Imagine this, Mr. President, and you have what is, in my opinion, the bitter reality of the American dream. A few weeks ago, Martin Luther King had to hold a nonviolent demonstration in Selma, Alabama, in his drive to register Negro voters. By the end of the week of his demonstrations, he was able to write quite accurately, in a national fundraising letter from Selma, Alabama jail, "There are more Negroes in prison with me than there are on the voting rolls." When King wrote that letter, 335 out of 32,700 Negroes in Dallas had the vote, 1% of the Dallas population. After a mass march to the courthouse, 237 Negroes, King among them, were arrested. The following day, 470 children who had deserted their classrooms to protest against King's arrest were charged with juvenile delinquency. 36 adults on the same day were charged with contempt of court for picketing the courthouse while State Circuit Court was in session. On the following day, 111 people were arrested on the same charge, despite their claim that they merely wanted to see the voting registrar. 400 students were arrested and taken to the armory, where many of them spent the night on a cold cement floor. The following day, the demonstration spread to Marion, Alabama. In Marion, Negroes outnumber whites by 11,500 to 6,000 people, and yet only 300 are registered to vote. Negroes in Marion were anxious to test the public accommodation section of the civil rights law. They entered a drugstore, and there they were served with Coca-Cola laced with salt, and were told that hamburgers had risen to $5 each. After the arrest of 15 Negroes for protesting against this treatment, 700 Negroes boycotted their classes next day and marched in orderly fashion to the jail. There they sang civil rights songs until they were warned by a state trooper that they would be arrested if they sung one more song. Of course, they sang another song, and of course, all 700 were arrested. American society has felt fit to use Negro labor. It has felt fit to use the blood of the Negro in 2 world wars. It has felt fit to listen to his music. It has felt fit to laugh at his jokes. And yet, as far as I am concerned, it has never felt fit to give the American Negro a fair deal. And for this reason, Mr. President, I would beg leave to propose the motion that the American dream is at the expense of the American Negro.
I now call Mr. Jeremy Burford of Emmanuel College to oppose the motion.
Now have Mr. Jeremy Burford of Emmanuel College, who is the first undergraduate opposing the motion.
James Baldwin is well known as one of the most vivid and articulate writers about the Negro problem in America. Mr. Baldwin had a difficult childhood, and he has personally himself suffered discrimination and ill treatment in the South of America. And I would like to say at this time that it is not the purpose of this side of the House to condone that in any way at all. It is not our purpose to oppose civil rights. It is our purpose to oppose this motion. And thank you, sir. Come and collect your fee afterwards. This side of the House denies that the American dream has in any way been helped by this undoubted inequality and suffering of the Negro. We maintain that, in fact, it has hindered the American dream. And if there had been equality, if there had been true freedom of opportunity, the American dream would be very much more advanced than it is now. If the American dream has made any progress, and I think it has been made in spite of the suffering and inequality of the American Negro, and not because of it. Now, it is also implied from this motion that the American dream is encouraging and worsening the suffering of the American Negro. This is emphatically not the case. The American dream, the American economic prosperity and respect for civil liberties, has been the main factor in bringing about the undoubted improvement in race relations in America in the last 20 years. And Professor Arnold Rose, who is the author of The Negro in America, which is perhaps the definitive work on the subject, who is also a contributor to what was called a freedom pamphlet, so I should imagine that if he has any bias at all, it is in favor of the Negro. He said that this improvement in race relations will be seen in years to come as remarkably quick. And he has put it down to three main causes: increased industrialization and technical advance, the increased social mobility of the American people, and the economic prosperity. And I would put it to this House that industrialization and economic prosperity are two of the main ingredients of the American dream. And at the same time, again, I do not want to say that the Negro in America is treated fairly, but at the same time, the average per capita income of Negroes in America is exactly the same as the average per capita income of people in Great Britain. Now, I found that absolutely amazing, and I understand that some of you do as well. So I have got the reference here from the United States News and World Report of July the 22nd, 1963, in which it points out, this will have to be the last interruption I take, as time is running short.
Mr. President, on a point of information, is the Speaker talking of real income or money income?
I'm talking of money. I'm talking of money income, and I would not wish to disguise that. I would also say that in terms of this, there are only 5 countries in the world where the income is higher than that of the American Negro, and they do not include countries like West Germany and France and Japan. Now, there are in America 35 Negro millionaires. There are Negro 6,000 doctors and so on. Now, I do not, by saying this, wish to emphasize that the Negro is fairly treated. I merely wish to try and convey a more realistic and objective account of the situation of the Negro. I agree that there are Negroes who are very poor indeed, such as the old gentleman in the South who was talking about some of his wealthier brethren. And he was saying, yes, some of these rich Negroes, they put on airs, they're like the bottom figure of a fraction. The bigger they try to be, the smaller they really are. I would repeat, Mr. President, sir, in the last minute I have, that this debate is not whether civil rights should be extended to American Negroes or not. If it were, it would be a very easy motion to argue for and a very easy motion to vote for. The debate tonight concerns whether the American dream is at the expense of the American Negro. That is, whether the American Negro has paid for the American dream with his suffering, or whether the American dream has furthered Negro inequality. And I would deny both those two precepts. I would say that Negro inequality has hindered the American dream, And I would say that the American dream has been very important indeed in furthering civil rights and in furthering freedom for the American Negro. Mr. President, sir, I beg to oppose the motion.
This is James Baldwin debates William F. Buckley in 1965. So the first two speakers we had is like, yeah. So the first two speakers we had were students that are debating whether or not the American dream is either yeah. Whether the American dream is hindering black people or it's not hindering black people. So the first speaker we heard from was side was explaining how it is hindering black people. This guy, yeah, this guy is the second speaker, which is another student, defending why that the American dream is not harming or leaving out black people. So please remember that this is a debate, that the students that the first part here that we're watching, I would hope do not believe anything negative, but who knows? I can't speak for them because I'm not them. But we are watching this, and we're learning because it's important for us to learn. It's important for us to learn from history, to understand history, and then we can make better decisions and stuff like that moving forward. Right? Y'all should watch some Chicago-based videos. Yeah. Chicago debate videos. Is that like the ones that explode off in gun violence? The ones that are almost like, yeah. Yeah. So as we get into this, please remember that this is just a debate. No problem, Stark. But just remember that this is a debate. Okay? Just, calm, rational. This is just a debate. Just a historical debate. That's all. Oh, get out of here. Auto reminder error, please restart your computer. Fuck off. Well, I guess we're not watching it. Let's see if it's the same shit. You must be fucking joking. Yeah. That's gonna be a pain in the ass that I literally will have to like restart. Oh yeah, sorry, on TV. They had Star Wars on it on Showcase channel. Okay, folks. Apparently, I am going to have to restart my computer, which sucks. Because apparently my audio rendering has decided that it's going to make me restart. You know, I keep trying to, man. So far I've managed to come up, so far I've managed to receive $40 towards the donation towards getting me a new computer. Aw. Thanks, Bubbles, for gifting the tier sub. So, hey, B-More, I am going to have to restart my computer. So everyone, please bear with me. Apparently, YouTube has decided to say that I need to restart my computer because apparently the audio rendering. So I guess I'm going to have to. We will all wait and have a dance party and chat. Okay, cool. So my mods, if you would be so kind as to look after chat while I restart my computer, I will be right back as soon as possible.